Can't we just like have fun anymore? Like, what is going on here? I came across this infographic on Professor Noctis's Twitter, and I was looking at it and I was like, this is ridiculous. It was saying that Final Fantasy is completely woke, and I was like, oh, give me a break. So I went ahead and I made a tweet about it too, and it got over 100,000 views in under 24 hours. So I'm like, okay, you know what? This seems to be a hot button issue. Let me make a full-fledged video about this because it is so freaking ridiculous. Like, I am over this whole, like, grifter people coming into my hobby and trying to ruin it and trying to ban games for no reason. It's crazy to me how they say, oh, this game is woke, we don't want this in our game, we want the games to be free. But then whenever people make the game how they want it to be, they say, oh, this game is woke, we've got to ban that. Like, this is crazy. So this is what I'm talking about. This graphic, this comes from a website. There's a group over on Steam. Yeah, there's actually a group over on Steam that talks about DEI detected, and they're looking for DEI in games, diversity, equity, and inclusion in games, and if it has that, they're like, oh, no, better cancel that. So let's look at what they said about Final Fantasy. Okay, Final Fantasy 13, not woke, contains no woke content. Okay, even though even though you have Saz with a chocobo living in his afro, and you literally have a lesbian couple with Fang and Vanille, no woke content. However, let's look at a game released in 1991, Final Fantasy IV. That one is woke. Yeah, I know. It says that it contains subtly pro-LGBTQ+ messaging. Then it says, see full review for spoilers. I looked for this review. I saw no review. And I'm like, racking my brain. I'm like, what are they talking about? Like, what are they talking about? The only thing that I could possibly think of that they're talking about is the male dancer in Fabul. Like, what? So, like, it's crazy to me. Then you move on to Final Fantasy V, which actually cracked me up. They said that this one was woke too, because one of the main characters regularly engages in cross-dressing. And, like, back when this first came out, I remember whenever I played the fan translation for it, and I first got Ferris in my party, and I thought to myself, isn't that a woman? And then, like, maybe an hour or two into it, I was like, oh yeah, I knew it was. But it just made sense as far as the story is concerned. She was raised by a group of pirates, and in order to, stay strong and, live with them, she just went as a boy, and nobody thought anything of it. But now all of a sudden it's woke. And also, Final Fantasy V is the game where everybody changes job classes constantly. So isn't everybody cross-dressing? Like, that's just what you do when you change the job. It's kind of like the dress spheres, in Final Fantasy X too. They're always changing their clothes. It's the same thing in Final Fantasy V. Then it moves on to Final Fantasy VI, saying that there's no woke content in Final Fantasy VI, despite, a female lead. We can't have that. Despite a non-binary character in Go-Go, despite having premarital sex and and Terra coming in from an interracial relationship, despite having, this plucky band of resistance fighters fighting against the big, evil Overlord Empire. No, that one's not woke. Like, what are they doing? What are their criteria here? It's just like we're randomly saying, oh, we like this game, so that one's not woke. Oh, but we don't like this game, so that one is woke. Like, they're just randomly putting these labels on these classic games. This is absolutely wild to me. They go on. Final Fantasy IX is now woke because of Kina. Because Kina is non-binary or goes by he, she, or whatever the ambiguous gender. Like, come on. Can't we just have fun anymore? Final Fantasy VII, woke because of pro-climate action messaging and forced cross-dressing. Yeah. Then it says you start the game working for an eco-terrorism group. Like, that's the whole message of the game. Like, tell me you didn't play the game, without telling me. You know what I'm saying? Like, the whole thing is absolutely wild to me. There's this teeny tiny portion in Wall Market, where Cloud has to dress up as a girl, but in order to rescue Tifa and Aerith, like, it's just what you had to do. It's just a little funny thing that you have to do. Is Star Tropics now woke? Because, you had to sneak into She-Cola? Like, this is insane to me. Why can't we just play fun games anymore? And then the whole thing about, like, oh, you're working for an eco-terrorism group. Shinra Corporation is horrible. So are these people, they're pro-Shinra? Like, what is going on here? This is wild to me. As far as like online games are concerned, Final Fantasy XIV Online, it says that this one is woke because marriage is possible between any two players. Yeah, like, come on. Then it goes on to say that Saga Frontier Remastered. We're just going through the Square Enix games here, so because there's a lot of games on this list. Like, I could go on forever, but we're just looking at Square Enix games because, like, the whole thing, I just can't. Saga Frontier is woke because Asalius' story involves minor homosexual interactions, and one possible ending involves homosexual romance and polyamory? Polygamy? I don't know what the difference is. But yeah, like, this game came out in the late 90s, and it's woke? Like, what? Harvestella, completely woke, because there is a non-binary gender option, even though all your heroes look the same no matter what. Like, what does it fricking matter? By the way, Star Ocean, the second story R, woke! Because there's 80 endings in Star Ocean 2. Okay, Star Ocean 2 was ahead of its time. Super ahead of its time. I loved that game. I adored that game. And it has one of the most endings of any RPG out there still to this day. But it's woke because some of those endings, it says possible endings imply homosexual romance. It's just like, your best friend or whoever it is that you bonded the most with or whatever. Like, the whole thing is absolutely wild to me. Then, let's look at Trails Through Daybreak. Like, oh my gosh. Okay, it says, features a story about two gay men in a love triangle. Contains an overtly pro-immigration messaging. Therefore, Trails series. The Trails series is now woke. Can't play that. Can't play Final Fantasy. Can't play Star Ocean. Can't play anything. Can't play anything according to these people. Oh, and that love triangle was ridiculous. Like, it was so weird because there was this guy who was in love with his sister, okay? But the sister was in love with a gay guy, and then the gay guy was in love with his brother. Yeah, the whole thing was weird, and the worst part of it, of course, is the incest. Do they mention the incest? No! They mention the two gay men in a love triangle. Yeah, because that's the bad part. Like, Sea of Stars. Sea of Stars is woke because one of the statues in the ancient crypt features a pro-trans message. Guess what? Anybody who kickstarted the game could write a message on a statue and say whatever it is that they wanted to say. And somebody just happened to put in a pro-trans message, so the entire game is woke, even though it's completely optional, and it wasn't even put by the development team. Like, what? Chained Echoes, woke! Because it includes a plus-size person of color queen and interspecies relationships in a fantasy game. Like, these are some of the best games ever made, and they're saying that they're woke. Like, the whole thing is crazy. To me, some people have lost the plot right here, I've gotta say. Like, they're like going on and saying, we want games the way that they used to be. Oh, but by the way, this one game made in 1991, woke, can't have that. Like, I'm sorry, but I just had to make a video on this because I had to be in my bonnet, and I just had to get it out there and let you know that this is stuff that's going on in the gaming community, and it's affecting games that I love. And I can't have that because I love these games, and I'm sure that y'all do too, and I want developers to be able to tell the story that they want to tell. And if that happens to be woke because there's a male dancer in Fabul, like, give me a break. Anyway, I know this might be controversial, but whatever. Let's all talk and chat about it in the comments, and have a good